All right, number 6, it wants us to complete the table to determine the effect of the number of compounding periods when computing interest. And it says, suppose 15,000 is invested at 3.6% interest for 12 years under the following compound options. Round answers in the second column to the nearest whole number. We're going to round answers in the last column to the nearest cent. Okay, so we're going over interest rates. I'm going to give you these formulas. They are in the textbook, okay? But whenever we see compound interest, we are looking at this formula. A, which is the final amount, equals P, the principal, in parentheses, 1 plus R divided by N. N is the number of times interest is compounded, raised to the N times T power. And then there is an annual interest rate where you just plug in a 1 for N and it simplifies to A equals P 1 plus R raised to the T power. So this is annual interest, and then this is compound. And so you have different terms. We also have a continuous compound, and we call that the PERT formula. There used to be a commercial with PERT shampoo, PERT Plus. So P, and then it's E raised to the R times T. So P-E-R-T, looks like PERT as a shampoo. So these are the formulas we're going to be using. So for annual compound, and we will use a calculator, we are given the amount invested, so P is equal to the 15,000, and then the interest rate R is 3.6%. Now we're going to convert this to a decimal because we don't use percentages, so I'm going to move 2 times to the left, so we're going to be using 0.036 as our interest rate, and then time T is 12 years, so we're going to put a 12. Now we don't have N. N is going to change from problem to problem or part to part. So first we're doing annual. So part A, I'm going to write the formula down and then we'll plug it in the calculator. So I might just go ahead and try to write them all down. So A is going to be the 15,000 using this formula times 1 plus interest rate 0.036. If you don't convert that to a decimal, it will come out wrong, and then we're raising it to the 12th power. So that is A. We'll get our answer. Part B, it says compounded quarterly, so 4 quarters in $1. So that means N is 4 in this case. So we'll do 15,000, 1 plus, this will be 0.036. We're using this formula, divided by N. N is quarterly, so 4 quarters. So that's every 3 months. And then this is going to be raised to the 4 times 12 power. And then C says monthly, so it's 12 months in a year, so same formula, except we're going to put 12 in the place of the 4. Months, so for N times 12 years, and then these will all give us an answer. And then part D says daily, so part D is the 15,000, 1 plus 0.036 interest rate daily, 365 days in a year, so 365. We kind of just omit the leap year and we just do 365. That gets us close enough. And then this is going to be raised to the 365 So 5 times 12 power. And then E, when it says continuous compound, we are going to use this PERT formula. This is the continuous compound formula. So E, we are doing principal, which is 15,000. P, E is our base raised to the R 0.036 times 12. Okay. So here's all of our formulas, okay, written out. We are now going to use the calculator to compute these. Annually, N is 1, okay, and then we're going to do our result. 15,000 divided or times 1 plus 0.036. We're going to raise that to the power of 12. 12 times 1 just be 12. And we want to round last column to the nearest cent, so 2 decimal places. So 22,930.23. All right. Quarterly, N is 4. There are 4 times a year. Might just move this all the way over so I don't have to keep doing so. There's my formula. So we're going to do 15,000 times 1 plus, and this will be 0.036 divided by 4, and then raised to the 4 times 12 power. So this gives me 23,060.42. Now, having this in the calculator in that form, I can hit second and enter, and it will recall the last thing I typed in. And I did that so I don't have to type the whole thing, but I can just add values. So if I want to put a 2-digit number, I'm going to have to insert 1, because if I just do 1 and then 2, it'll type over the parentheses. So I need to do second and the delete button to insert, INS. And I'm going to add a 2, so because we're going to divide by 12. And then up here, even if I want to type over it, I can just do 1, 2, and then times, and I got to do 1, 2. So if you have too many values, it'll type over it. You have to do insert if you want to add something in between, so that it's second, and the delete button, DEL, is delete. INS is above that in blue. So same formula, just divided by 12 and then times 12 up there for N. This gives me 2390.09. So N is 12, and we get 2390.09 when rounded. 8 will round up to a 9. Daily, so I'm going to do second enter, recall that formula. I'm going to do 3, 6, and then I'm going to do second insert to get the 5 at the back. So I'll keep my parentheses. Same thing up here, I'm going to do 3, 6, and then second insert. So 365 times the 12, and that gives me 23,104.53. And then the last one, there's no value of N. It is the PERT formula. And so we're going to do 15,000. And then second LN to get that E raised to the 0.036 power times 12. so we get 23,105.03. Okay, and we see green checks all the way down.